What screams I'm poor but pretend I'm rich? I think owning a Rolex. They're $5,000, $12,000 for the most basic watch that looks like an $80 Invicta. If you're actually rich, you'll buy the nicer Rolexes that are $50,000 to $200,000. Hummers. Instagram. Fake Rolex. Rose gold. This thread is filled with people that do not understand the question and instead chose to just insult others for purchasing almost everything. Weird. Tinted windows and expensive rims on a crappy car. Chrysler 300. ITT, you're spending money this when you can't afford that. What you're seeing are people who have been failed by the education system, and who have been taught to idolize these things via pop culture. Expensive phone but no phone balance. Cheesecake Factory, for any other reason than thinking is just a yummy meal. Talking down to people in service jobs. The cashier, waiter, guy stocking the shelves is not your personal servant and you don't yell commands at them. One of my friends comes from a generationally wealthy family who has a live-in butler. The family speaks to the butler with the utmost respect. There's a certain professionalism with the butler, doesn't get too close with the family for example, but he was not looked down upon in any way. Subaru Impreza. My aunt was what we call a Mountain William. It's a term for a hillbilly, which we are, to a degree, who has had a taste of the finer life and wants everyone to think they are rich and high society. I loved her to death, she was and is my favorite aunt. Sweetest, most generous woman I might ever meet. But her home had an air of falseness about it that shaped my view of people well into adulthood. She loved crystal. Bowls, lamps, chandeliers in every room made of crystal or fake crystal. Baskets that were supposed to mimic wicker, but were woven with fake gold wire with crystals embedded aesthetically. She had fancy-looking furniture, and it was probably expensive, but the fact that her massage chair was probably the most expensive thing in her whole house just enhanced that fake richness of the whole thing. Don't get me wrong, her home was beautiful and as a kid, I was so afraid to touch anything because it looked so nice. But it also just felt fake. So to me, surrounding yourself with grandeur like that feels fake. Women who post a bit too often about how great it is to be your own boss and be living a plush life, and here are pictures of me by a pool wearing a sparkly swimsuit and you too can be rich, set your own hours, travel, and get to lounge by pools if only you sign up with this definitely not a pyramid scheme company. Bonus points for having a glass of wine in the shot and forgetting to move the box it came in out of the shot, thus ruining the illusion that it was expensive wine. Buying baby Burberry or Gucci clothes. Just stupid. I work in retail and see it all the time. I've been saving since I got pregnant for these baby shoes etc. You live in a house that if you walk in the front door, you fall out of the back, but you have an $80,000 SUV. iPhones with cracked screens lol. Being picky about name brands at a store while on food stamps. Could be because of the film industry, but champagne really feels like someone is trying too hard to be rich. I'm pretty sure everyone can find a proper white wine that's way better than champagne with the same money. Constantly talking about how much something cost. Wearing sunglasses. A pool. A designer bag that has the logo plastered all over it, X. Coach. Nike Air Jordans. When I see most designer brands like Gucci, I always see a materialistic poor person with a most likely fake product. Voting Republican. Any Maserati made between 1980 and 2017, fast depreciation and expensive maintenance on Italian Chrysler 300 unless you have the one with the Ferrari V8. iPhones. Deleted. Wearing fake jewelry. Driving a different luxury car every couple weeks/months. Posting selfies dangling a set of keys in front of a really expensive vehicle that is not yours. Flashing stimulus cash on social media while standing in front of the projects that you live in. People who buy expensive luxury cars that are 10 years old then bitch about the costs of keeping them running. I'm looking at you young people driving BMW X5, Mercedes E, S-Class cars, Porsche Cayenne, etc. Eons ago I worked with a guy that had a plastic, fake car phone. Pull up next to people and pretend he was talking to someone. In some ways he is still into the impression silly stuff. People that make How to Become a Millionaire. Most of the time, they are not a millionaire. Mercedes CLA. It's a $20,000 car that still has all the maintenance and reliability costs of a $100,000 car, but you get to call it the Benz. Excessively large TVs in subpar homes. A 2003 Chevy Tahoe with chrome rims. Apparently that's what Gangnam Style is, wearing rich clothes and stuff but not really being able to afford it. Older Asian parents that insists on treating or taking care of their relatives with their children's money when they themselves are broke so that they don't lose face. When I was 16 I worked in a Whataburger on the graveyard shift, from 10 to 6 in the morning. Every morning at 5 a.m. this guy would come for his bob and a Coke. He drove a Porsche 944, had a big gold watch, and was always wearing hospital scrubs. I commented to a co-worker one day that he must be a doctor and he just started laughing. He said, "Nah man, that cat is my cousin, he works the line at Abbott Labs, that's why he has the scrubs on." He, his wife, and 3 kids live in the apartment up the street. I knew the apartments he was talking about, they were Section 8 housing. He told me he works 2 jobs to drive that car, and I give him his breakfast every day for free. When I was in my 20s I used to work for an old man who was worth millions, and he drove a beat-up old pickup and wore a $50 time Gucci belt. I once saw women at Zara taking selfies like Zara is such a high-end brand lol. People who peddle their MLM business on their social media stories. $1,500 worth of clothes but walking down the street ghost rapping. Brand new latest technology TV and console. But kids are wading in their own filth. Bed mattresses on the floor, no sheets. Pantries bare. Well, rich people really don't fit the stereotype of always buying expensive stuff and eating at 5-star restaurants all the time. I might say so of myself. Sometimes the money really doesn't matter, it's about how you behave. Rich people don't just buy expensive stuff, very often they act and behave like rich people. The guys who go around wearing gold chains, renting bodyguards and living in huge mansions, believe me, that's not the definition of rich. People build a wall of luxury to protect themselves from their insecurities. If you go to an expensive private school doesn't mean everything is gold-plated and you've got your private butler. No, the people there are quite normal, and even though we know everyone is rich enough to pay for the school, some people sure don't act rich enough. 5 or more maxed out credit cards. People who post every single thing they do in their social media, like pretending they're some kind of super famous models and everyone needs to be aware of what they do. I don't think it means I'm poor in an economic way, but rather I'm poor in my life and I need strangers to be interested in what I do in order to fill the emptiness in me. Low-end luxury car ownership. Telling people how much you spent on things. Dodge Chargers. When someone is bragging about their Ford Mustang. Taking pictures of money. 2008 BMW 3 Series on social media. Non-M car. Oof. BMWs. At least in LA. Gold cars. Learn that from Be Amazed, great YouTube channel with lots of amazing facts. Gold chains and many rings. Owning all the name brand things but not paying bills. Casinos. Me. Bragging about having an iPhone instead of an Android. Well, how drunk am I? Beat up BMW 3 Series. Living in Nocatee. Using AirPods on an Android. Any fake expensive product like Coach, Gucci, etc. etc. Voting for lowering taxes for the rich. Macy's. Gucci belt. Acting like you belong to some special club because you have an iPhone. Taking a luxe lift from a cheap hotel. People with 8 kids getting income tax. Wearing Balenciaga and pointing at it. Gucci belts. AirPods or expensive sneakers. Designer clothes. Gucci shoes. I'd buy. Leasing a luxury car. Rims on a normal car.